This is unsafe. We're going to be reviewing the new Steven Tyler solo album, We're All Somebody from Somewhere. Thank you for the very insightful comment, Mr. Tyler. I'm sure we all learnt something from reading it. This is going to be a long one, so strap in. Look, to explain Steven Tyler is one hell of a tough task, like both in terms of just explaining his iconic status in music, but just also in terms of explaining Steven Tyler. But let's go on with the basics, right? Who is Steven Tyler? Well, for one, he was and still is the frontman for famed rock band Aerosmith. Huge name when it comes to rock bands, released hits that went worldwide like Dude Looks Like a Lady, Dream On, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. You've probably heard them at some point in your life. But let's move on from Aerosmith because we're focusing on Steven Tyler's solo career, which he's trying to basically promote by releasing this album. I heard beforehand that it was going to be venturing into country. Not necessarily rock, but country. And you know what? I was pretty keen on this to an extent. I'm not like a huge venturer into the genre of country, but I've heard plenty of albums that have totally won me over in the genre, that are richly original, sometimes very emotional, raw, actually with heart. The thing is, Steven Tyler seemed like the sort of artist who could really pull through when it comes to putting out a country record. I mean, I don't know, to me it just seemed like maybe he could do it. Maybe he could put out a country album that was pretty decent. But that went all completely out the window once I finally got a chance to listen to this record. Look, now I don't hate Steven Tyler as an artist. I think the guy, even at this age, thing is, when it comes to country, you kind of have to have some sort of soul. New album from Steven Tyler just feels so soulless. It feels like it was overproduced. It feels very commercial, that's the thing. It feels extremely commercial. Like this whole thing was just a cash in to see if Steven Tyler could really pander to those people who are really into country music. Hilariously, he fails, and in some of the cringiest ways possible. Some of the cringiest lyrics I've heard this whole year. And this is the same year that saw the release of Kanye's infamous bleached asshole line. The first track, My Own Worst Enemy. Now this one wasn't actually too bad. I thought it was a decent opener. I would also say the same thing about the track It Ain't Easy. These tracks actually had some genuine heart to them. Although they're not perfect, there was this part in the opening track where Steven Tyler's just going or something like that. Something like that. What the hell? It's like a caricature of country music. I mean, that's what this whole album seemed to be, but we'll get onto that later. I mean, I guess relative to all the other songs on this album, those two were kind of alright. And then when you start on everything else just goes down the drain. The second track, the title track, is home to some of the cringiest lyrics. It's a cringe fest, this one. If you've seen Bo Burnham's Netflix special, Make Happy, which is incredible, you should watch that. You probably saw his country song parody, where he basically lists a whole bunch of cliches that a lot of pop country artists tend to just spew out. But Steven Tyler just takes it to a new level. Okay, so I'll read out the verse, and you tell me what you think. Hollywood to New Orleans, filet mignon to black-eyed peas. And then he follows this by stopping the whole track, everything's silent, and then suddenly he says, and cornbread. Damn, I love that stuff. What the fuck? There's an actual pain I had when listening to that line just unfold. The track Hold On Won't Let Go is more of an abrasive, distorted track. Steven's voice has this distortion effect over it. It kind of sounds bluesy, a little bit raw, but any sort of potential is kind of watered down by the sheer fact that it just doesn't go anywhere. We've got the production which just waters everything down. Everything just completely... like all the warm blood's just been leaking out and it's leaving this dead, lifeless corpse of a track. Of a country track. What could have been a good country track. But easily the most laughable use of really crappy cliches of a country song would have to go to one of the lead singles for this album, Red, White and You. This thing panders so much, Designer is jealous. See what I did there? That was a good pun. That was a good pun, wasn't it? I mean, when you have a song that is just spouting out some of the most stereotypical American patriotic stuff, and not in a way that's gonna make you feel proud of your country. It almost sounds like it was written to be a satirical parody or just caricature of patriotism. Like, I'm not American myself, but I just cringed reading these lyrics. But no, like, Steven Tyler's not even making this as a satire or anything. It's completely unironically used. He spouts out things like sweet potato pie and bang bang baby like the 4th of July. And then there's this one really stupid line about diving into your yum yum. What? Huh? Sometimes I sit and think, and sometimes I sit and think and cringe like hell. Tom Petty on the radio. Tom Petty being on the radio. Really pandering to those people. I mean, as far as lyrics on this album go, they're just not. At this point, you kind of get my point. They're just not good. You've got the instrumentals on some of these songs, which sound like they would be more suited for Taylor Swift when she was making country songs. Steven Tyler's voice does not fit a lot of these songs. You've got Sweet Louisiana, which is a big example of this, but perhaps the biggest, most insane offender of this flaw in this album is the track I Make My Own Sunshine. This is a cover of a song, and Steven Tyler just goes out to prove a track that sounds like it's better suited for someone like Train, or even just stock royalty-free vlogging music with the ukuleles and the xylophones. When you have a voice like Steven Tyler's, you cannot sing something as happy and sugary and as overly effervescent as this. It don't matter if it's raining, nothing can faze me. The only saving grace is a couple of songs which actually do have some admittingly good instrumentals from time to time. Although I say that they do sound very overproduced and very soulless, there are some moments where some genuine emotion does pull through. You've got two covers at the end, one of Janie's Got a Gun and one of Another Little Piece of My Heart. And in my opinion, they're not terrible by any means, but at that point in the record, at the last two songs, you're kind of thinking, you know what? Why even bother trying to win us over at this point? You've already patronized your audience by just stockpiling your lyrics full of just sweet potato pies and such. Steven Tyler's solo album is a 2 out of 10.